A very good morning to all the students of class 11th political science. Welcome back to the online classes here. Students, we were doing the second chapter as we had completed first part of our second chapter, that is election and representation. In the first part, we saw the close relationship between the democracy and election. We tried and understand the importance of each, as they are, we can say, the two sides of the same coin which cannot exist without the other. So we read about them, and now today we are going to start a very important topic, not only from the point of view of the student of the political science, but as a citizen of India, you must have the information about this particular unit, that is election system in India. In fact, all and every citizen of India must know this concept of election in India. Okay, so we shall start and try and understand each and every concept of election system in India, and what is the method of election used and is prevalent in the Indian politics. We shall do this in this particular topic. So the first question which arises, elections in the topic election system in India, need. This is very important. Why do we need to study this particular topic, that is election system? As if I talk in the language of a common layman's person, we everyone knows what is election system in India. Basically, if we say, okay, so giving you introduction to this, that why we need to study this particular topic. So as you know, there is a system of conducting elections in India. There are authorities and rules about do's and don'ts. So always there are some authorities, and what are the rules and which are the do's and don'ts. Everything is written down, and there are certain authorities to conduct election. In that, what election system is all about. So we is that we'll say, is that all about election? That there are some authorities, there are some rules and don'ts. You may have wondered why the constitution needs to write down how the votes are to be counted and representatives elected. Isn't it that very obvious? People go and vote. The candidate who gets the highest votes gets elected. This that is why elections are all over the world. Why do we need to think about it? We need, because this question is not simple as it appears to us. They are saying here that, as we know, election system in India, you very well know, as a common person, you know that there is a candidate, you have to go, you have to vote, and the candidate getting the maximum number of the votes is the winner. That party is the winner. They will follow the rules and regulation and run the government and work as a representative on behalf of you. But this is not as simple as it looks like. There are a lot of complicated content which you need to study and understand. That is why it's written election system in India. Its need, I have told you why we need to understand it. It is not as simple as it looks, that okay, you are the citizen, you are 18 years of age, you will go, you will vote, you will select your, you will show your preference to select your candidate. After that, the result, there will be counting of votes, the result will be out, and the winner will be declared, who will be getting the maximum votes. But this is not simple as it appears to us. So it is required to write all this in the constitution. They are asking, is it required? So yes, it is very much required that all the provisions of the election, all the laws, do's and don'ts should be written down in the constitution, because it sets a concrete platform according to which the elections are conducted in a particular country. So to have a free and fair elections in a democratic method, it is very important for a country to have everything written in the constitution. Okay, so the question is not simple, I am saying, as it appears to us, because there are ways in which people make their choices. It is not very simple that we'll go and will vote. There are various methods, various patterns in which people make their choices and they elect their representative. There are various methods, not only single. Although we are familiar only with the one method which we have been following, and we have been noticing and observing our parents, our elders, although you shall also vote when you are 18 years, but still you know it as your parents, you have seen in your surroundings voting. different ways in which their preferences are counted. So there is are different methods also in which their preference, the candidate which they have elected or they have chosen or to whom they have given their vote, their voting is also counted in the different manner, and different system have different outcomes. So we would say there are different systems, different methods of election, different methods of selecting their choices, and showing their preferences and how their votes are counted. There are different systems, so it depends on the system, and because of that particular system there will be always different outcomes. Any change in the rule, the outcome would be different. A particular system may be good for the rich people or a big party or strong party. Maybe another system or a change in the rule will benefit the small or the weaker party or the majority or the minority. So I would say here a different system and a change in the rule and the regulation of the election may be show the different outcomes. We'll try and understand this particular three terms because election is not as simple as appears to us, because there are different ways people make their choices. There are different ways in which their preferences, their choices or their votes are counted. It depends on the type and the method of election we are following, and different system have different outcomes. Every different election system has different outcomes. Okay, a change in the rule can change the complete result of the election. So we'll try and understand in this particular chapter only by these two methods of the election, that is first past the post system and proportional representation. So today we shall do this particular system of election, that is first past the post system, which is followed in India. So we'll in under the election system in India, we have understood that election system in India is not as simple as it appears to us. As in our surroundings we have seen how the elections are done. There is a election machinery, there are different some methods, there are candidates, there are representatives, there is a date for the elections to be held, then votes are given to the representatives according to the choice of the voters, then the votes are counted and then the result is declared. But it is not as simple as it appears, because of we have read these important elements of elections in India. So we'll try and understand all these points with the help of this election system, whose name is first past the post system. So before I start this topic, first past the post system in relation to India, I would like to give you a small example which you must be very much familiar, so that it would be able help you to understand this topic, that is first past the post system, when I will read it from your book also. As you know, our country India, it is when there are elections or there are central elections, our country is divided into various constituencies. These are the small geographical areas which are divided within the country according to the population. Like this. All the states of India, I would say, are divided into constituencies. These small areas are called constituencies, and there are 543 constituencies. So like this, there will be all over the India, there will be small groups like this divided into according to the population, 543 constituencies, and from each constituency only single member will be elected. From every single constituency a single member will be elected. It means when from 543 a single member will be elected, it means it will fall 543 MPs, member of parliament. Okay, they will work on behalf of all the people who have elected them. So if I take a single constituency, if I take the example of single constituency, what happens within a single constituency? Suppose out of 543, this is the number 41, constituency number 41 of our country. Okay, so there will be elections within this constituency. There are candidates who want to be elected as a MP and go to the parliament from this particular constituency. So there is an election between, and there are how many candidates? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Total number of 8 candidates are fighting for the election, and only one out of these 8 will be elected as a MP. Okay, so elections will be held. So I have taken for example, in this whole area, election is held and there are total number of 4,000 voters who will vote and elect their representative. They will show their choices and preferences through vote. Okay, so this is the result of the vote when the voting is done. These I have written party 1, party 2, party 3, and these are the candidates also, we can say candidates belonging to different parties. So there are, we can say, 8 parties, or maybe independent member can also be there. So these are the candidates, 8 candidates, and they, after the declaration of the result and the counting of the votes, this was the result. Out of them, this number 1 got 500 votes, number 2 got 700, number 3 got 350 votes, number 4, this person got 1050 votes, number 5 candidate got 840 votes, and this candidate number 6 got only 60 votes, and party 7 or candidate number 7 got 300 votes, and this candidate number 8 got 200 votes. So from this we'll see who has got the highest votes. So you can easily make out this candidate number 4. He has got the maximum number of votes if compared to the other candidates. So he shall be declared the winner of this constituency, and he will join the MP as a MP in the Lok Sabha within these 543 members of Lok Sabha. So he will be one of the member of this particular constituency. But one important thing here is, which you must note, is that here the candidate don't have to get the majority or the simple majority of total voters. That is, out of 4,000, the winner doesn't have to bring more than 2,000 or something. This is not the condition put in the first past the post system. In this system of election, first past the post system, whoever reaches the post in the first position, that is, who gets the maximum of the votes from as compared to the other candidates, is the winner. Okay, it doesn't matter that he gets the majority of votes or the wins by the simple majority. It is just one condition is there, that whichever candidate has the highest number of votes is elected as the MP. So I gave you example. I hope you have understood it. In the same way, we will try to understand this first past the post system according to our NCERT book. Now I've given you a rough idea that now you will have the understanding how you have to understand this point concept step by step. So let us understand this with the historic moment in India's democracy in Lok Sabha election of 19. So it is very important. I given you a rough idea. That was an example made by me. But now we will be taking a real example, and that real example is of the Lok Sabha election of 1984. You have to remember this date. This was the election which was won by the Congress, and they got the maximum seats, that is 415. Till now no one has got such a large majority. Okay, but what was the reason for the Congress winning this election in 1984? Because there was an assassination of Indira Gandhi, and after her death the elections were held in December, and in that Rajiv Gandhi won. Rajiv Gandhi became the prime minister, but Congress in all the constituencies, almost 415 constituencies, won their seats. So we will understand this first past the post system with the example of Lok Sabha election which were held in 1984. So they have written here, in this election of Lok Sabha 1984, Congress won 415 seats out of 543. So out of total number of constituencies in the whole country, there were total number of 543 seats in Lok Sabha. Out of these 543, 415 seats were won only by Congress. Okay, more than 80% of the seat. So if we see the percentage of 453 and 415, it is 80%. It means out of 100%, 80% of seats were won by the Congress party in the election of 1984. The Congress party won 4/5 of the total seats. Now in the other method they are saying, as they were talking about the percent, 80% of the seats, now they are saying 4/5 of the total seats were won by the Congress party. Does it mean that out of 5 Indian voters voted for Congress party? Does it mean that after every 5 citizens of voters of India, out of every 5, 4 voted for Congress? That is, if there are 5 men standing, out of 5, 4 voted for Congress? No, this will not be the case. Why? You must be thinking, when Congress has won 80% seats, it means it must have got 80% votes also, but this is not the case. We'll say no, Congress has not got 80% votes here. This is why we are studying first past the post system as an election system in India. As I told you, it is not as simple as appears throughout in the election. There are some complications, and we will try and understand this, that why the party has got around 80% of seat, but it has not got so many votes as compared to the seats. So understand the situation with the help of this table. So we will try and understand this particular situation with the help of this table, and this is also given in your NCERT book. I've only taken 3-4 parties, but there are more, 8 to 9 parties. So it is written, voters and seat won by some major parties in Lok Sabha election. So in the, again, this is an example of in Lok Sabha election of 1984, but there is a ratio. These are the parties and the votes these parties got and the seats these parties got. So first of all, in this election, Congress got the vote. If out of 100%, Congress got only 48% of votes. But how many seats it's won? 415. And this 415, I told you, is equivalent to 80% of 543 total number of seats in Lok Sabha. So how is it possible that a party getting 80% of seats, that is 415 seats out of 453, but total number of votes which it got from the around the country is only 48? It means not even 50% of the people wanted Congress to be make the government at the center, but still it is having the 415 seats. How come? We'll try and understand here. Now in the other party, BJP got only 7.4 votes percent, it is in percent, but got only 2 seats. It is getting 7.4 percentage of vote, but getting only 2 seats. In the Janata Party, 6.7 votes only they are getting, but they are able to win or secure 10 seats. So why there is so much of disparity between the vote percentage of votes and seats which a party is achieving? So we'll try and understand why there is so much of differences and disparities, and this is all because of this election system which we are following in India, that is first past the post system, in which I told you it is very important for a candidate not to achieve the simple majority, that it is not important for a party or a candidate to get 50% of vote or plus 50% of votes, but it is important to get the majority among the candidates. It is very important for the every candidate or every representative to get the maximum votes as compared to its other candidates or rivals. Suppose Congress got 48% of votes, BJP got 7%, and Janata Party got 10% votes. But Congress was able to achieve 415 seats. Why? Because 7%, 10%, and rest of the other parties, all these votes were wasted. They will not be counted in the Congress, because out of this is the whole population who has voted. Only 48% voted for Congress, but rest of the population does not wanted Congress to be at the center. It means only because of with the percentage of 48%, it was able to make its government at the centers. It was because it won the seats around 415. So we can say this happened, that is election of 1984. The disparities we saw between the percentage of votes and the number of seats, all this happened because we follow a special method of election. And which is that special method of election? That is first past the post system. Because of this method, there was so much of disparity between percentage of votes and the number of seats a party is getting. Okay, because in that we don't need a special majority, or we don't need the simple majority from any candidate. It is just a competition between the candidates. Whichever candidates gets the highest number of votes, he is elected and is the declared as the winner. Okay, so under this system, what happens under this system of first past the post system? There are some important characteristics. You must know these characteristics. The entire country is divided into 543 constituencies, as I showed you in the map. Okay, the whole country is divided, and geographically it is divided according to the population. Each constituency, as I also gave you the example of each constituency elects one representative. Okay, and there can be many candidates fighting for that particular post, but out of them only one will be elected, who will be getting the highest number of votes. The candidate who secures the highest number of votes in that constituency is declared elected. As I've told you, the candidate who secures highest number of votes, in his constituency is declared elected. So this also you have already done. So what is the important thing which you have to remember here is, the winning candidate is not required to secure a majority of the votes. She is required to just secure more votes than other candidates. This is also I have already explained you. Any winning candidate who is just required to secure, he is not required to secure majority we can say is 50 plus votes. That is, if there are 20 people, that it means he needs the support of 11 people. Majority, I would say, if there are 20 people, okay, so if we want majority, we need the support of 11 people. That is more than half, not 10 or 11. But in this case of first past the post system, we don't require majority. We just want, if there are 1 2 3 4, these are the members. Number 1 gets 4 votes, number 2 gets 5 votes, number 1 get 10 votes, number get 11 votes. So in this, they will not see the majority, that who's getting the half percentage of votes. It will only see who has got the highest vote, that is 11. So number 4 will be elected as the winner, or the candidate who's been elected. Okay, relate this with the Lok Sabha election of 1848. So you have to relate all these conditions with the elections of 1984 which we have discussed. So this was the system which we are following in India, that is the first past the post system. You also read it from your NCERT book. It shall be very much clear to you. Till then, thank you.